In this lesson, we are going to add polynomials. And so poly, if we look at that word right up here, this means many. And so when you see the word poly, that prefix is many. So we have many monomials being either added or subtracted. In this case, we're going to be adding polynomials. In the next part, we will be subtracting polynomials. So what I would recommend doing is taking the terms of one of the two polynomials and placing them underneath the one of the other. So I'm going to put the 5x squared underneath the term I can combine it with, the 8x squared. I'm going to take the negative 3x, put it underneath the positive 2x. Take that positive 4, put it underneath that positive 3. And then I'm adding these numbers together. And so when I do that, I end up here adding 8 and 5 makes 13x to the second. And then here I have to subtract their opposite in sign. I get negative x, and here I add. They make a positive 7, and there is the answer. So with adding, all you're doing is lining up the terms you can combine, but they have to have the same variable raised to the same power. Looking at this one, you see here an x to the third. I can't combine that with any term over here because there is no x to the third. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same column method, but I'm going to space these numbers out. I'm going to rewrite this one here. I'm going to write it x to the fourth, and I'm going to leave a gap for that x to the third term. And I put the 9x squared, and then the plus 2x, and then the plus 3. So I have it in descending order, highest exponent down to the lowest one. And now I'm going to take these terms and line them up with the ones I can combine with. So this term here goes right in this gap. The 3x, or negative 3x to the third. Then a negative 2x. Now that would not go here because they don't have the same exponent. It's going to go underneath the positive 2x. And then that 1 is going to go underneath this 3. So plus 1 goes right there. And then from that point, we add these numbers up. And so when we add, if they're the same sign, we actually do add. If they're opposite signs, we will subtract. So here we're left with an x to the fourth, a minus 3x to the third, a minus 9x squared. Here, these two terms cancel out. They're opposite in sign. So we're just left with that plus 4. And there is our answer. 4-term polynomial. Well, here's another example to try. Here we have another x to the, or c to the fourth this time, a c to the third. We're missing the c squared term here, but we do have the c in the constant. So I'm just going to rewrite this term, just leave a little bit of space to allow room for that missing term. So I leave a little bit of a gap, negative 2c and a plus 1. So now I'm going to take these terms and write them underneath the ones I can combine with. Now, I wrote down 3c squared and 2c squared. I'm going to change that real quick, modify the problem. I don't think I meant for that to be the same exponent. Let's change this one to a 3c to the third power. That way we can combine it with something. On your problems, you're not going to be able to combine any of the terms inside the parentheses. They'll all be different. So that was my mistake on that one. So I'll go ahead now and take these terms, 3c to the third. Let's put that underneath the one I can combine it with, the 3c to the third. Negative 2c squared, again, that's where I put that gap in there specifically for anything that had a c squared. And then the plus 5c, and then this plus 4. And so now everything is lined up so we can go ahead and add these terms together. So I've got a negative 2c to the fourth. These are the same signs, so they add together, 6c to the third. A minus 2c squared. These subtract, they're opposite in sign, but more positives than negatives, so plus 3c, and a plus 5. There is our answer. Well, we'll try one more type. And this is a perimeter problem. Perimeter problems are actually addition problems. So what we are going to see is if they're asking for the perimeter, they're asking for the distance around the figure. Sometimes people only make it halfway. They just add these two sides together. But that's not it. See, that's only half the perimeter. So we could either take that sum and times by 2, or you could just add up all of the sides. So notice there are 2 that are 7a minus 2b. See, this one over here is the same as this one. This side right here, this 4a plus 3b, that's this side too, 4a plus 3b. So there's 2 of them. So what we're going to do is we're going to add all these numbers up. We got a 7a minus 2b, another 7a minus 2b, so we had 2 of those, and then we have 2 4a plus 3b's, another 4a plus 3b. So you can just add them up just like this, and this will give us our answer. So here we have negative 2b when I add up these 2 terms, or negative 4b. Here when I add these up, this makes 6b, and so when I combine those, I have to subtract, and I end up with a positive 2b. And then over here, I have to add them all. 7 and 7 make 14, 14a, and then these 2 make 8a. So I kind of grouped them together and then add them, and that makes 22a. And there would be our answer. And I don't know what the units are, so I'm just going to write down units. Units could have been feet, it could have been miles, it could have been inches. We just don't know. It doesn't tell us. Well, there's another way some people might have figured that out. Rather than having to add them all up, you could have just added up 2 of the sides. You could just go 4a plus 3b, and then add up 7a minus 2b. And if we do this, we end up with an 11a and then a plus 1b. Well, what would we have to do from there? Because that's only half of it. Well, if I double this, that'll give me my answer. And so if I times this by 2, 2 times these numbers, 2 times 11 is 22a, 2 times 1 is 2b. And so that would be the same answer, 22a plus 2b units. So a few different ways to get that same answer, and you'll see some problems like that. Well, the next part is going to have subtraction problems. They're a little different, so take a look at that lesson.